What's up, fellow video ninjas? You guys are in for a real treat. If you don't watch this video, or at least get the free downloads below, you're totally blowing it. This tutorial, I promise you, will save you a ton of time in your video editing workflow. If you already do what I'm about to show you, I am impressed. You should high-five yourself, then record yourself high-fiving yourself, and email it to me with a shameful explanation on why you didn't share this trick with me sooner. In this magical tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create an empty lower third in After Effects that when brought into Premiere, it'll automatically reveal your text. So, to be clear, we're going to render a lower third graphic out of After Effects, bring that one single QuickTime movie file into Premiere, add our text on top in Premiere, watch our text be magically revealed in Premiere, and then never have to go into After Effects again to alter that lower third. And no, this is not using live text templates. It's different, it's better, it's magic. Also, I'm not going on camera today because I haven't had a haircut in over a month. Yeah, it's horrific. All right, enough talking. Do not close this window. And by the end of this video, you better be a subscriber.
1, 2, 3, listen.
All right, and as always, make sure to get your free downloads. I'm giving you guys the After Effects project file as well as 2 QuickTime files, which are the 2 lower thirds that I'm giving you guys for free. So if you don't ever want to jump into After Effects at all, you don't have to. Just download those 2 QuickTime files and bring those into Premiere. And if you guys just want to skip to the Premiere portion, fast forward the video to 15 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, so we're gonna create a new composition, make this HDTV 1080, 29.97, 10 seconds, sounds good, cool. I'm just gonna bring in this picture of this handsome character right here. All right, so my advice to you is to design your lower third around your font. In this case, I'm gonna be using Proxima Nova, so it's a little bit of a wider font. So I always type my text in first and design my lower third around that. All right, so I'm just gonna freestyle this, so here we go. Hit Command T on the Mac. I'm just gonna type in Jonathan Anderson. And the reason why I'm typing in Jonathan Anderson is it's because it's just a long name, so I always try to design my lower thirds just a little bit bigger just to fit different size names. I'm gonna make this white. That looks good. Click down here, hit Command D to duplicate it. We'll call this guy Creative Director. Command Return to exit that. And we'll make this light, just so it looks a little bit different than the name. Then we'll scale this down. I just want to make sure that this is aligned with the J up there. Looks pretty good. All right, now, and today we're gonna be designing exclusively with solids and masks. I'm not gonna be using any shapes at all. I prefer using solids personally just because they have a little bit more flexibility. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna hit Command Y on the Mac, and I'm gonna change this to a light gray color, which I like 28, 28, 28. Love that color, cool. And we're gonna drag this below, and I'm gonna hit Q, and I'm gonna drag a nice little box around the name. I'm gonna duplicate this box, Command D, select it, and hit P on the keyboard for position, and we're gonna drag this down right about there. And then we're gonna move our title down just a little bit, and then we can resize this box, double click on one of these points here, and we can adjust it to where we like it. That looks pretty good. Now I want to change the color of this box. I have in here something called a color code, which I use a lot. So it has all these colors are colors that I pick from a lot just because I like these colors. So I created this in Illustrator, and I'm actually giving this to you guys as part of the download as well. So I'm gonna hit Shift Command Y. I'm gonna select this blue color here. I like that color. Looking good. And one thing I'll point out is I always design my lower third first and I animate second. That's always how I do this. All right, and then I wanna have a nice little accent line in between these 2 boxes, like a white line. So I'm gonna click on this solid, duplicate it, and then we're gonna hit Shift Command Y. We're gonna change it to white. Return, double click here, and scale this down. I'm gonna Option scroll up and zoom into this point so I can see what I'm doing. That looks pretty cool. So now we have a nice little white line across the bottom. All right, now in this particular lower third, I want to use this color code as a design element. So I'm gonna drag this onto the screen. I'm gonna align it with the edge here. Yep, it's right on the edge, perfect. All right, we're gonna click on our color code here. Zoom in. I'm gonna hit Y on the keyboard and we're gonna move this anchor point to the edge. And you'll see why in a second. Just make sure it's right on the edge. I'm gonna put it in the bottom left, right there. So now when I scale this thing up, it's gonna scale from that point. So go ahead and scale this up from here. As you can see, it's scaling from that point. So we wanna make sure it's exactly the same size as our lower third box there. You can just click on one of these points and hold Shift and scale it up. If you wanna get really finite, you can just hold down the Command key and hit the arrow key up, and that'll just raise the scale in small little increments there. So now I'm gonna move this up right here, just above that gray box, and now I'm gonna draw a mask around it. So I'm gonna hit Q, make sure we're selecting the rectangle tool here, and we're just gonna drag a nice little box right over top. Boom, that looks awesome. All right, now for some of you, this might be exactly what you're looking for, and you might animate this and you'll be on your way. For some of you, you might wanna add a little bit of a logo element, kind of like our example here. See how there's this box that I have my logo inside of? I'm gonna show you guys how to create that really quick. So we're gonna do another solid, Command Y. We will make this white and we will bring it below. And then we'll hit Q, make sure we're on the rectangle tool. And we're gonna create a box. We're gonna hold down Shift when we do it. That way it constrains the proportions and make sure we are creating an exact square. Make some final little adjustments there. And then we can bring in our logo. So here's my logo. I'm gonna hit Y on the keyboard, drag this anchor point to the middle, so when I scale, it's gonna scale from there. We're gonna hit Q, put a mask over top. We're gonna go to Effect, Generate Fill. And then we're gonna change this to our gray color. You can just pick it. Boom, that's the color we want. We're also gonna hit this continuously rasterize button right here to make sure that the edges are nice and clean. Now we can scale it up. It's gonna scale from that point because we moved our anchor point there. Scale it up to where we like it. And then one other thing as far as design goes is I want this color code bar here to run across the entire lower third, the top of it. I'm gonna select the color code and I'm gonna hold down Shift and I'm gonna slide it over to the edge here. I want it to be right on the edge because I want it to fill the entire top of the lower third. So now we'll probably have to scale it up a little bit. Hit S. I'm just gonna drag the X value. So I'm gonna hold down the Command key and hit the arrow key up. So it's just doing tiny little increments there. All right, and I wanna move my entire lower third over and maybe I wanna scale it a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is go to Layer, New, Null Object. I'm gonna hit Command A and I'm gonna make all of these layers except for a couple. I'm gonna parent them to the null object. So I'm gonna hold down Command, I'm gonna uncheck this, and I'm gonna drag a pick whip right onto the null. So that way, when I move this null object around, everything moves with it. And then when I scale this null object up and down, everything scales with it as well. All right, now we're ready to animate this guy. We'll start with the logo square. I'm gonna hit M on the keyboard to bring up the mask. Set a keyframe, Shift, page down, maybe we'll go over 12 frames. Set another keyframe, go back, make sure you're on your selection tool, double click here on the mask, and then we are going to drag this over until it disappears. Perfect. So now it's gonna look like this. Zoom in a little bit, and I am gonna use my keyframe wingman here to adjust the easy ease. Say 78, sounds good, cool. And then I'm gonna duplicate this logo square, hit U, so I can see the keyframes. I'm gonna move this over, and on the bottom one, I'm gonna hit Shift Command Y. I'm gonna change the color of the bottom layer to this gray color. So now it's gonna look like this. Gray comes in first, and then the white. The reason why we're doing this is because right there, we can have our logo come in. So if I hit Option left bracket on this logo, it's gonna come in right there, but we don't see it coming in because it's the same color as that gray box. So the logo is coming in right there. You just don't see it. Let me show you. Let me turn this layer off. See, there's the logo. It's appearing right there, but we don't see it. So now it's gonna look like it's getting revealed on. That's the premise of this entire lower third. So you don't ever have to put in your new elements inside of After Effects at all. You can put in all your elements inside of Premiere and they'll all get revealed magically. The name box. All right, hit M on the keyboard, set a keyframe, shift page down, and then let go of shift, maybe hit page down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we just moved over 15 frames, set a keyframe, go back. Now maybe I'll have this one animate from the right, double click here, stretch this all the way until it disappears. Hit Option left bracket, so that way this layer starts right there. Make sure to do your easy ease so it looks nice, very nice. All right, that's what that's looking like. So now we want to duplicate this name box. The one underneath is going to be white, the one on top is going to be gray. Shift Command Y, make this white, enter, enter. Hit U to reveal the keyframe so we know what we're doing. Slide this over a little bit, right there. So white comes in first, gray is second. So right there, we can have our name pop on, boom. So now it looks like it's getting revealed. The last thing is the title box. So M on the keyboard, set a keyframe, shift page down. Maybe we'll do, same thing. 15 frames, set a keyframe, go back, and maybe this one's gonna animate from the left. So we'll slide this all the way over till it disappears. Option left bracket to cut that layer. Select keyframes, keyframe wingman. So now it's looking like this. It's animating on. And then duplicate this layer, make the bottom one white, Shift Command Y. Reveal the keyframes so we can see what we're doing. Slide this over. So now the white one comes on first, right there. Creative Director, Option left bracket. So this is what we have so far. That comes on, name comes on, title comes on. And we also need to animate this line. See that line sitting out there? Let's animate the line on right here. So do the same thing. M, set a keyframe, shift page down. Maybe we'll do 15 frames again. Set a keyframe, go back to zoom in pretty far here to see what we're doing. And we're gonna adjust the mask here. So we're gonna slide this all the way over to right here till it disappears. Cool. Select the keyframes, keyframe wingman. Go to fit so we can see our whole screen. Looks good. Now just to reiterate, I'm only using text in this example for you guys so you guys can see what's happening. Obviously, once we go into Premiere, this lower third, it's not gonna have any text. So it would pretty much look like this and there would be no logo at all either. You're just bringing all your information into Premiere. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do is animate on our color bar at the top. So maybe we want it to come in right about here. So select the color code, M on the keyboard, set a keyframe, shift page down, 15 frames, set a keyframe, go back. We're gonna have this animate on from the left. So we'll just adjust our mask until it disappears. Make sure to option bracket this so that way it comes in right there. Do a little easy ease again here. Cool, that looks awesome. Now it's time to render this thing. We're gonna bring it into Premiere. We're gonna add our text and that is it. So obviously I would wanna get rid of my text here. So let's just hide those layers. So we'll turn off visibility for those. And then I'm gonna turn off visibility for my logo as well. So let's see what it looks like without all the stuff on there. It doesn't look as cool, but when you bring it into Premiere, it'll look super cool. So I'm gonna set my work area. Let's say we maybe wanna have this to be, I don't know, 10 seconds long. So I'm gonna go all the way to the end here. I'm gonna select all my layers. I'm gonna hit Option right bracket just to make sure that everything stays on the screen as long as I need it to, and looking good. So we're gonna go to Composition, Add to Render Queue, and in here, we are going to set this to my favorite setting. Go in here, click on Lossless, go to Format Options. We're gonna set this to Apple ProRes 4444. hit OK. RGB plus alpha to make sure we get our alpha channel. You can of course create a preset, but I'm not gonna talk about how to do that in this tutorial. We're gonna hit OK. And one thing that I almost forgot, I need to go into my comp and delete that picture of myself, otherwise we're gonna render that out and we don't want that. So double click on this, go in here, hide that layer, click on this toggle transparency grid, make sure we're dealing with transparency, looking good, go back to render queue, tell this thing where you want it to go. Cool, save it, render it. All right, so we brought our lower third into Premiere. Let's create a new sequence, call this sample, drag our lower third onto the timeline. All right, so now we're gonna go to File, New, Title. Call this name if you want. Click where you want the name to be. And then we change this to the font that we like. Let's just do Proxima Nova, which is my favorite font today. And then we can scale this down. So now we're gonna drag that title onto the screen right where we want it to appear. So we want it to appear right there. So we're gonna drag it, snap it to that point. Looks like we can see it, so that means that it's not pure white. Go back in here, we're gonna double click this. Go in here, click on the text, select it. I'm gonna hit this eyeball icon so we can show the background video or make the background video disappear. Click on this, make sure it's selected. Go over here to title properties, and here's your color. So we're gonna make sure this is pure white. Bury it all the way in the corner there. There we go, now it's gonna be pure white. Close this, so now you can see, we can't see it at all. So there you go. That title, it looks like it's getting revealed on the screen, look at that. All right, so let's do the same thing with the title really quick. So we can just duplicate this layer. I'm gonna click on it and hit Option and then drag it up. Let go of the mouse first and then Option after. Now we have another title based on those same attributes. Double click on this, Creative, Director, and we're gonna make this light. Close the window. Actually, I forgot to position it where I wanted it. So if we click on this eyeball here again, we can see where our text is. So we can move it down to where we want it. You can use the arrow keys to do some fine tuning. There you go, close that window. Now what we need to do is make sure that that creative director comes in at the right time so we'll adjust when that comes in. So we want it to come in right there. So we'll drag this over to the left to make sure it appears right there. So now it looks like it's getting revealed. Looks cool. Let's play this back. Looks awesome. See, now we didn't have to do anything special to the text. It just looks like it's getting revealed automatically. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna do is put our logo on the screen here. So I'm gonna drag my logo icon straight from my Finder window onto my timeline. Now we want the logo to come in right about here. So I'm gonna drag this layer over so it's gonna come in right there. And we're also going to position this thing. So I'm gonna go to my FX Controls tab here. And I'm gonna position this thing where I want it. Scale it down a little bit. Drag it until I like it. And there we go, maybe a little bit smaller, perfect. So now it's gonna come in right there and we can't even see it. It's gonna get revealed on. And now we have ourselves an awesome looking lower third. All right, and then one last thing I wanna show you guys how to do before we're done here is how to make this thing animate out. We're gonna razor blade this thing right here. So we're gonna cut this bottom layer, select it, we're gonna go to speed, right click, go to speed and duration, we're gonna reverse this clip. So if I stretch this out here, now what you'll see is it's gonna animate out. You see how it's disappearing now? So we'll grab it right there, we'll cut it again, we'll delete this middle layer, we'll throw this over here, and then we're just gonna basically just make our text disappear right at the proper time. So, creative director can disappear right there. Razor blade that, cut it. The name can disappear right here. So razor blade that, cut it, delete it, move this over, and the logo can disappear right there. So razor blade that, select it, delete it. So now let me zoom out. We can see that our lower third is animating out, which looks really nice. All right, thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. Make sure to get your free downloads below. I'm giving you a lower third version with the logo box and one without the logo box, as well as another nifty lower third that I didn't talk about in this tutorial. Please like this video and share it with your friends, share it on social media, and I'll see you guys next time.